We rent part of this 16th century Grade 2-star listed farmhouse, manor, call it what you will, in the Welsh countryside. It's a whacking great big house, the majority of which is in such a poor state of repair that it's uninhabitable. The upside for us is that it makes it affordable to rent. We don't have access to all of it, however, and with good reason. Until they were recently repaired, there have been holes in the roof for at least the last 20 years. As you can imagine, that's had a devastating effect on that part of the building. The bit we live in has luckily fared better, and being the only part of the building with a sound-ish roof and central heating, its floors and ceilings are intact. It does have gaps around the doors and windows though. In fact, the kitchen door has such a big gap under it that we have known small birds to come in through it. There are a fair number of rotten windowsills and a lot of paintwork in need of work, as well as a number of other jobs. So we thought we would take you on a tour of the house and the jobs that we'll be doing over the coming months, both in the house and the garden. As we undertake this Herculean task of sorting out these imperfections, we will be filming our progress and regularly uploading films for you to watch. We will start our tour with the front door. This has a big gap at the top that, for the time being, is covered with this piece of wood I found in one of the sheds. The plan here is to plane and sand this, then strip the old paint off the door and repaint it. We believe that it was originally painted a different colour, which we may go back to. The interior of the porch here could do with a bit of TLC, so that will get a coat or two of paint as well. Fortunately, the hallway doesn't need any major restoration. We just need to pull out the nails used to hang pictures, make good the holes they left behind, and give it all a nice coat of paint. The nails in the walls are going to become a bit of a theme. Coming off the hallway to our right is the living room. This door could certainly do with a little bit of attention. The frame needs stripping and repainting, while the door is not too bad, but could use a little work to cover up these scuff marks. The walls certainly need painting. It's surprising how you can ignore quite large imperfections when walls are this big. Up close, you tend to notice the big black marks, the cracks and the stains from when the house got damp while it was unoccupied. Oh yes, before we moved in, the house stood empty for what we think is at least a year, maybe two. That has taken its toll, and it obviously got quite damp. The window frames are definitely in need of stripping, filling and repainting both inside and out. This enormous fireplace is crying out to have something done to it. The paint around the wood burner is blackened and flaking, while the paintwork around the chimney breast is going to need some redoing when all the nails and screws protruding from it have been removed. The skirting boards need painting in some places, replacing in others where they're rotten and are completely missing in other areas. The ceiling has a number of quite big cracks which will need filling. Then the whole ceiling can be painted. We also need to do something about lampshades, as in get some. The kitchen is another huge room that needs repainting. The walls behind the cooker is stained, the cupboard doors don't quite match, and the drawer fronts have a tendency of falling off from time to time. This large window needs repainting, and as for the door going outside, that needs quite a bit of attention. Firstly, there's the big gap at the bottom. Then there are the rising butt hinges that have become so worn that they no longer rise. This is why the door catches on the floor and knocks bits off, creating the gap. So it's probably a case of replacing the hinges. This is the downstairs WC, and as you can probably see, the walls have been stained, partly I would imagine as a result of dampness, and then quite high up there are these brown streaks. I have no idea what caused that, and at this point in my life I think I could do without knowing. Again, there are the obligatory nails in the walls, a number of cracks, these screw holes where the waste pipe and water pipes from above are boxed in, and then there is the sink, which is coming away from the wall. All these things could do with sorting. The other thing is that it's painted this ghastly yellow colour. Joe likes it. I don't. The stairwell is in need of repainting. Some of the spindles need refitting, and we need to find replacements for the missing ones. This downstairs window needs a lot of work, as does the one on the landing above. quite possibly dismantling and reassembling. On the first floor we have the bathroom, which as you can see is a very good size. It really needs painting as it has dark stains on the ceiling, which I'm going to guess is due to mildew or mould. Then there are the walls. Yet again we have a really horrible yellow colour. It's just not nice. The airing cupboard needs painting because it wasn't done overly well originally, and there are some unpleasant looking stains on it. The window is in need of stripping down and repainting, and hopefully we will be able to do something about these bath panels. This is the landing. Again, a lick of paint on the walls, ceiling, doors and window should have this looking lovely. There are also a few places where the floorboards need looking at, as there are terrible creaks and there appears to be a hole under the carpet. This is the bedroom, which is mostly fine. We need to sort out the holes in the wall around the window where the curtain rail fell down. We also need to have a good look at this window. Some of it needs quite a bit of work as it has suffered a fair amount of rot. It's also going to need to be stripped and repainted, as does the door. This was once a bedroom, but we use it as an office come edit suite. This is where all the magic happens that goes into making our films. At the moment, however, it's largely purple. That's not ideal. Again, the floorboards creak like crazy and the window has a big gap around it. This is another room that is mostly okay. I'm sure we could do something to smarten it up a bit. We use this room as a studio when we need to film inside. I'm not sure if you can see this, but the floor dips quite dramatically in the middle. It's really quite something. Part of the fun of living in a really old house. As you can see, the garden varies from being okay to being practically a field. We've already started dealing with the field area, as you can see in some of our previous films. As to the rest of the garden, the aim is to get it under control. We plan to weed the flower beds, get rid of the brambles up on the bank there and trim this area, get rid of the raised ants' nests and turn it into a lawn. It's a lot of work, but we will get there. The house comes with 3 sheds. These also need a bit of work. Currently, this one is sort of the workshop, only because it has a workbench. It does, however, have the worst roof of the 3. What I plan on doing is emptying the second shed of the rubble that it's currently storing, who knows why, and moving our canoes from the 3rd shed into the 2nd shed, and then turning the 3rd shed, which has a partially decked floor, into the workshop. We just need to do something to stop the bats from pooping on everything. We will of course take some expert advice as to what we can do, but I suspect they will suggest either stopping their access through the gable ends of the shed or putting up a ceiling to catch the poop. The problem with bats is that some species are protected, meaning that you can't disturb them. Fortunately, this shed is only used as a maternity roost during the summer, so whatever we do can be done over the winter without disturbing any bats. There's also a small leak in the roof that could do with repairing. On top of all this, we plan on doing some interesting restoration jobs on some pieces of furniture, as well as an old sailing dinghy. So there will be plenty for us to make films of for your enjoyment. To make sure you don't miss our films, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/somethingvloggy. If you feel the urge, you can pop over to the Buy Us a section on our website, somethingvloggy.uk, where you can help us with our DIY projects by buying us a tin of paint or a stepladder or even a cup of coffee to help keep us going.